welcome to a new episode of the Straight Wrestling Voices of the Indies podcast. I'm your host, Morbo, and with me, as always, everyone's favorite US independent wrestling fan from Germany, Sebastian.
Thank you, as always, for the introduction, Morbo, and welcome to this week's episode of Straight Wrestling Voices of the Indies. And we have a very special episode because in this episode, we will talk about this year's Scenic City Invitational. We will have a preview, but we won't do it alone because our guest today is everyone's favorite US independent wrestling fan. She's the definition of a super fan, in my opinion, one of the greatest fans we have in US independent wrestling. You know her from the Val Pancakes podcast, especially from her format, The Stack with Val Pancakes. And I'm very happy that she made the time to be here today. And with this, thank you very much for being our guest today and welcome, Val Pancakes.
Hello. Thank you for having me. I love being able to talk about independent wrestling, especially in the South, especially with SCI. Those fans, those people, those wrestlers have been so good to me over the past few years, and I'm such a big fan of all of them, and I'm just really excited to get to talk about it with someone.
So before we dive into the tournament, as a tradition, Val, tell us, who are you and what got you into wrestling?
So I'm Val Pancakes. I have professional wrestling ever since I was a child. I got into independent wrestling because I was friends with a guy who was an independent wrestler. And when I was living in Nebraska, he's like, I know you like wrestling. You should come to this independent show that I'm working. And I didn't have anything else to do. And I thought, sure, why not? We'll see what happens. That was 2012, so 12 years ago. And ever since then, I've been into independent wrestling. I worked with my local company in Nebraska for 10 years, Magnum Wrestling, shout out. And then I've since moved, so that's why I don't work with them anymore. But I've done, I've worked the door, the merch table. I've worked. I've done a little bit of commentary. I started getting into independent wrestling not in Nebraska in right about 2019, which right at the end of 2019. So right going into COVID, and then that's when Christopher with the Bald Monkeys found me because we were on Twitter and Twitch and going into a lot of the same Twitch channels, and said, "Hey, do you want to do this podcast with us?" I was like, "Sure, why not?" And then I just kept going to wrestling shows, and now we're at where we're at.
How many SCIs did you attend so far?
So I went to my first one in 2021. So this will be my fourth because I went to 21, 22, 23, and then 2024 will be my fourth one.
Okay. So Sebastian and Val will be there live at the TWE Arena, and the rest of the crew, me and Florian, will watch the show at home. So let's dive into the tournament. And the first match I have on my list is Hook D versus Darian Bankston. I think we start with what are your thoughts on this match?
I think this match is going to be great. I really like both of these guys. I think they both have different styles, but similar styles. I think it's going to be a good match. I'm just really excited to see what they pull out. As far as do you want me to do a prediction on it?
Sure.
I predict that Shug D will probably win that, but not clean. It'll probably be dirty.
I think that Derby will win that, but I will elaborate why I think that later on, because it has to do with something else. But I agree as well. It will be an interesting match, and I think it's also interesting because, as well said, yes, it could be typical Shug D heel stuff. But we have also seen on the latest TWE shows that Shug D's character is developing. So it's really interesting to see in which direction it will go. And Darian is just the most beloved wrestler in TWE arena. So it should be a nice match.
Yeah, I think so. I think I go with Sebastian's opinion. I probably think Darian will win, but there will be cheating, of course. So I'm really curious what we can see of Shukdi maybe on the second night, on a non-tournament match.
Yes.
Then, next match. Probably my favorite match of the first round, and this is going to be a wild one. Mad Dog Connolly against Tank Sebastian.
This has to be like the hardcore or even the death match of the first round, like we had last year with Sawyer Wreck and John Wayne Murdoch. These two guys are pretty much made for each other, and I think this will be brutal in the best way possible.
I agree. I think that if there's going to be blood in any of these matches, it's going to be Tank versus Mad Dog Connolly, which not a problem for me by any means. As far as who do I think will win that match, it's hard to say because Tank is such a local favorite, but I would really love to see Mad Dog advance and just see him get somebody, different style in the next round.
I forgot to say that, but I think that Mad Dog Connolly will win as well.
I think the winner of the match will be the crowd in the arena and at home, because it's going to be violent. I think so too, that Mad Dog will win, because I think there will be maybe some interference from the KOBK. You never know these days at TWE. So, okay, next match we have Jaden Newman against Adam Priest. Well,
this is probably my hardest match to call a winner for. I could see it going either way. Adam Priest is such a talented wrestler and competitor, and Jaden Newman is as well. Jaden Newman, obviously hometown guy, and that always counts for something. But to have him out in the first round and have Adam Priest advance, then you got like a good kind of a heel advancing. This is the one I'm torn on. I think it truly could go either way. If you're telling me to pick a winner, I'm gonna go with Priest. I'm gonna call it wild card for Priest on this one.
I'm gonna go with Priest as well, and I also agree on Val's reasoning because he could also play a heel role in the tournament. Although I don't think that he will win it in the next round because of reasons, but I will come to that later. It's also an interesting match given the history that both have with each other also in terms of SCI. If I remember correctly, they both were on the final that Jaden won in 2022. So yeah, it's definitely going to be an interesting match. And as well said, it's hard to call, but I think that Jaden will lose because, and now I can say it, I can see that there will be a Cavern of the Goat versus Goten's on day 2. Cavern of the Goat with Jaden, Tank, and either Nathan Murray, for example, against Shukdi, Tyler Stevens, and Casey Owens. So that's why I think that Jaden and also Tank and Shukdi will go out in the first round.
So will there be interference?
Yes, there could be interference, but probably not from Cavern of the God, maybe also from, like you said, Kill or Be Killed.
I think that anything is possible when you get Coven of the Goat around anything.
Yeah, I think it would be easier to predict the show if we already have seen the night before and what happens on that night. But I think I go with Adam Priest as well on this one. Then it's an interesting one. We have last year's Action Future Showcase winner Rachel Armstrong against Channing Thomas with Sydney Buckabella in his corner.
I think here we are really far apart on the spectrum in terms of wrestlers being liked and wrestlers being not liked, because we have like this super heel with Thomas and this really beloved face in Rachel Armstrong. I feel like Rachel will win this. Of course, you could also give like Channing Thomas a win because he would also be a good like tournament heel, but I think that would be someone else. But more to that later. But I see Rachel winning here, and I think it will be especially a match also for the crowd in attendance with like the strong heel and face dynamic between the two.
I am, I'm going to say there's going to be an upset this round. There's going to be an upset, and it is going to be Channing Thomas. I think that he is such a good, like, jerk bad guy that you almost need somebody like that to advance. And I think it'll be, again, he's another one that I think that Channing Thomas will win, but I don't think that it will be a clean, decisive victory. I think Sydney Bacabella is going to play a big part and probably distract the referee, just do some underhanded Sydney Bacabella type stuff.
Yeah, I'm with you, Val. I think that Channing Thomas will win this match. And I also think that Channing Thomas will be in the final because he's like the perfect heel. He has this crazy manager with him who can interfere at any time. He's perfect for interacting with the crowd. I think Channing Thomas will advance in this match and will also be in the final. Then we have an absolute, I would say it's a banger, but it's also a crazy match. We have Landon Hale against Paul London.
I love both of these guys. I love Landon so much. I mean, just a huge fan of his. Ever since I realized who he was, I like his style. He's a nice guy. Like, love Landon. That being said, I've been a fan of Paul London since I was like 18 years old. So it's really cool to see him get this indie run and just be able to wrestle some of these younger competitors and impart some wisdom on everyone. That being said, I think Landon's going to win. I think Landon is probably going to go at least to the finals this year again. He's kind of been on the cusp, and I think this year is Landon's year. So I think it's going to be a really fun match. I think Landon's going to win, and I think Paul London is going to just put on a great match, and I'm really excited about it.
I had the trash cans because Paul London's going to get them.
Oh, yeah.
Sebastian.
I absolutely agree with Val. I also think that Landon will win. I also think that he will reach the final. I even think that Landon will win the whole tournament. And Paul London is awesome. That this entrance he has now has really given him this independent run. And I've seen him not that long ago here in Germany at the end of May. It's really amazing to see him again. I'm really looking forward to this match, and I think it will be really entertaining.
Yeah, I'm going with Landon as well. Shout out to Landon. Hey, he was on our podcast before. We met him in Germany. One of the nicest guys in the world. And I'm really excited for this match because I think Paul London still can show good matches. Maybe he's not as fast as in the past, but I think he's still such an entertaining act, and he's actually perfect for such a tournament and such a match with Landon Hale. And I'm pretty sure he will have a pretty cool match on the second night.
Shout out to Len from me as well. He's just, as Val said, an amazing human being, one of my best friends in wrestling, and love you, Len.
We're just like the Landon Hale fan club over here.
Absolutely.
Of course. Then we have last year's winner, Warncott Manders, against TJ Crawford. Another
one of my favorite people in wrestling. As everyone knows, Manders and I are also good pals. And this is an interesting one because I feel like this is a match where you have the clearest roles in terms of favorite and underdog, because I feel like Manders is absolutely the favorite here. But Crawford is also someone who's really built up a good career for himself, especially in the Northeast, around Beyond and everything. Not a match I would have expected before, but I'm really interested to see how it will turn out. I definitely think that Manders will win. I also think that Manders will be in the final again.
I kind of agree with you there. It's a very different match, I think, as far as like styles are concerned, because I don't think of TJ Crawford as hard hitting as I do Manders. I also am a big Manders fan, as one would be. I think that Manders will win this. But I think it's going to be a lot closer than what I would think it would be, if that makes sense. Like, I think it's going to be a really fun match regardless. I do think Manders will probably pull out the win on this. And I sort of agree as well with, I do believe that he's probably going to the finals also.
Yeah, going with Mendes as well. Although a TJ Crawford win would be wild, would be crazy upset, but nah, I'm going with Mendes as well. Speaking of crazy or wild, we have Rob Killjoy versus Rico Gonzalez. Wow.
To me, this is probably one of the most even matches I can think of as far as like styles and size is concerned. I like both these guys so much. This one's hard to predict because it really could go either way for me. I think that I think I'm going to go with Rico. And that's just a gut instinct.
Sorry, I cut you off.
Oh, no, you're fine.
Sebastian.
I absolutely agree with Val. I feel like this is pretty much a coin flip. But I think that Killjoy will win because it would, although it is kind of a coin flip, it will still be kind of a surprise. But with everything else, I just agree with Val that it's pretty even. That they should match each other quite well in terms of style, and Rob Killjoy is also like a wrestler who's like really an independent wrestler, and also a wrestler who was like for the crowd in the arena, and therefore I could see him also win this. So I think Rob Killjoy will win.
I predict Rico just because I want Rico to win. I think Rico Gonzalez is amazing. For me, it's like top 5 unsigned indie wrestler. He should deserve so much attention, more attention. He's fantastic. I'm not the biggest fan of Rob Killjoy, but I think it will be a pretty interesting match. But I think Rob Killjoy would be pretty cool for a non-tournament match on night 2 with, I don't know, Paul London or something. It would be fun.
Yes.
And the final first round match, we have Matt Makowski versus Aaron Wade.
I think that Aaron Wade will win because I feel like Aaron Wade is going to be the heel of the tournament. I also see him in the final, and with everything they've built up around him, especially with his story he had in TWE, where he also attacked his father and everything. It's like I feel like they have something in mind for him, and he will win there. Probably, maybe also, or not like the cleanest way, but I think the match will be interesting because you will have the styles clash of someone who is very like mat based and very like in this shoot style thing, like Matt Makowski against someone who just searches for ways to win, and I think he will find one. So I think Aaron Wade will win.
I think it would be great to see Aaron Wade just get his comeuppance for being a total jerk. So I'm going to say Matt Makowski, but I'll be honest, I am a big Matt Makowski fan, and I have been really for the last probably 4 or 5 years. I don't know what it is, and I'm not even like a big like shoot style fan necessarily, but the way that Matt Makowski can just like get anybody into a submission from any like direction just out of absolutely nowhere is so appealing to me. And I hope that Matt Makowski makes Aaron Wade submit.
Yeah, shout out to Matt Makowski. I talked with him briefly at the 16 Carat weekend. Super nice guy. I'm also a huge fan of Matt Makowski, but I also really like the shoot style. And I go with Matt Makowski as well, because I think this will go into the story where Aaron Wade is so pissed off about everything and will go even more berserk on night 2 and so on. So I go with Matt Makowski. So before we go to the main event, the non-tournament match, I think at this point we can predict the final 4 who will be in the tournament's final and also predict the winner. And I think we start with Val on this one. Who do you have for the final 4?
Oh, man. I mean, and truly, it sort of depends on who matches up with who. But I see Landon, Manders, Channing Thomas, and Adam Priest in my final 4. And I'm sorry, what were you saying?
No, sorry. You still want to say the winner. I'm sorry, I cut you off. I'm so
you're
sorry.
fine. You're fine. And as far as the winner goes, like I said, I think it's Landon's year. I think it's Landon's time.
I agree with a lot that's Val said. I also think that Landon will be in the final. I also think that Mendes will be in the final. But I think the other two finalists will be Aaron Wade and Rachel Armstrong. And I could see that Rachel will be the first one eliminated. And then you would have the prospect of getting like Landon versus Mendes again. But Aaron Wade would like crash that. So it would be Aaron Wade eliminating Mendes. And then we would have Len Hale versus Aaron Wade. So like the face that everyone loves against the heel that everyone hates. And in the end, as Val said as well, Len Hale will win the whole thing.
Sounds good. Are you booking the tournament, Sebastian?
Do you have like insider knowledge?
Yeah, tell us, Sebastian. I would say my final four will be Landon Hay. He will win the tournament. Definitely Mendes. And I go with Channing Thomas. And I would say Adam Priest. So we have two faces and two heels.
I think you and I predicted the same four.
And now we come to a very special match. I'm pretty sure both of you will cry at the arena. I will cry at home. The final match of Daniel Makabe against Kevin Koo. And I think we start with Sebastian on this one.
Let's just start with this. It's the reason why I'm traveling pretty much half across the world again. Because I didn't really plan to do it again this year. I plan to do it next year because I just started a job in April and I know, this would be difficult. But then I heard, okay, Daniel will have his final match and I made it possible somehow. This will be extremely emotional. And but I'm also really happy that I will be able to be there because I think everyone who knows me knows that Daniel is not only my favorite wrestler, but also one of my best friends, one of my favorite people in the world. And yes, it really means a lot to me that I will have the opportunity to be there. And yes, I think it will be something I will never forget, for sure.
I agree. As far as, winning, losing, I think it's going to be a fun match. From what I know of wrestling and wrestlers, the better friends they are, the more they're going to go all out. And I think especially with it being his last match with somebody that he handpicked, this is, friend in wrestling and in life. I think that it's going to be just a fire match. I think it's going to be very emotional for both of those guys, for everybody in attendance, people watching at home that have been fans of Daniel Makabe for a long time. Just a nice dude, just generally super cool, fantastic wrestler. I'm very glad that I have gotten to see him the times that I have and to met him and to have the chance to see this match. So yeah, I'll probably cry like a little girly. I'll have Kleenexes if you need them.
Yeah, I'm really looking forward to this match. I mean, Sebastian basically is Daniel Makabe's biggest cheerleader. I mean, he talks about him all the time. He introduced me to Daniel Makabe. I really like Daniel Makabe as well. And I think this will be a great match. Emotional, but I also think this can be maybe a potential match of the year candidate. I mean, Daniel already had a great match against Zack Sabre Jr., so who knows? I mean, it's his final match. They're going to probably kill each other, who knows? So it could be a banger, maybe a match of the year candidate. Definitely going to be a great main event. But this is the main event, yeah. What? This will be the main event, yeah. Okay.
Yes, and I think if their match they had at Sunset Underground Pro, I think in 2020, anything to judge by where they already killed each other, this is going to be great.
Okay, that's it for the tournament, but Sebastian will introduce the other shows at this weekend, the Action Future Showcase and also the TWE Night Before. Sebastian.
Yes, it's not the only tournament that we will have. We will also have the Action Futures Showcase tournament, as always, on Saturday in the afternoon. And as in the last year, and I think the years before as well, we will have three-way matches in the first round and one three-way final. We will probably not do this in detail as we did before, but maybe we can run through it quite quick. And I will start with it. We will have Mackenzie Morgan versus Jameson Shook versus Casey Owens. Interesting match, in my opinion. All TWE guys, all very familiar with the TWE arena, and the TWE fans are familiar with them. I think that Casey Owens will win this one. I think he will be like the tournament heel of this. Val, what are your thoughts on this match?
I want to see Jay Shook take this one. I think he's just fun to watch. I think he's a good kid. And I'm just kind of excited to see him get a little bit more recognition.
Going with Casey Owens, of course. I mean, I think Casey Owens is like the best here in the Southeast right now, and you have to go with Casey.
Yes. Then we also have the match between Joseph Alexander, also known as A-Game, Dex Royal, and Anakin Murphy. Val, what are your thoughts on this match?
I think it's going to be a good match. I kind of want to see Anakin take it. He's been kind of having a run down there anyway. And I think that would be a good. I think it would be good for him to get that. I think it would be fun to see him in the final too. So.
Yeah, I'm not sure. Maybe Dex Royal, but maybe Anakin. But I would probably go with Anakin. Anakin is really cool. He's one of my favorite TW wrestlers. And if he listens to this podcast, he can come on to our show. I want him as a guest. Anakin rules.
I absolutely agree with you. I also think that Anakin Murphy is amazing, and I also think that he will win this. Dex Royal could also be a potential winner. I agree with this, and I think it will be an interesting match. The last match we will have is Tim Bosby versus Cody Fluffman versus Tyler Stevens. Morbo, what are your thoughts on this match?
I mean, Cody Fluffman would be funny for the main to win this match. I mean, he's like a crowd favorite, but you need well, it's tricky because I already picked Casey and I have two heels. And now I go with Tyler Stevens.
Okay, Val, what are your thoughts?
So I'm gonna go with Tyler Stevens as well. I think that he's gonna be kind of like the bad guy of the tournament for futures. So I think he's gonna probably advance.
I absolutely agree with you. I also think that Tyler Stevens will win. And that being said, I think that he will go to the final. And I would like to know from you, who do you think will win the Action Future Showcase this year? Starting with you, Val.
I'm gonna go with Jay Shook. I think it's gonna be Jameson Shook. I don't know why. I think he's a good face. I think people like him. I think he's fun. I think it's gonna be a fun match. And I think it's Jameson.
Morbo, who's your pick to win the Action Future Showcase tournament?
I'm going with Casey Owens because Casey Owens is the best here right now in the Southeast, period.
Interesting. Then we have three different picks because I will go with Anakin Murphy because I feel like he will win against the heels that I think will be in the final with Tyler Stevens and Casey Owens. And I also think that they could build up the match I already referred to between Carbon of the Goat and the Good Hands with this match because Tyler Stevens is of course a part of the Good Hand and Casey Owens as well, and maybe we will have some interferences or whatever, or we will see. We have another match which is not a tournament match between that's already announced between Kaya McKenna and Alexis Littlefoot. Morbo, what are your thoughts on this match?
I don't know. Have I seen them both before? I don't know.
I'm pretty sure you have seen Kaya Kenna before because she's also been at actual wrestling.
Yeah, then definitely.
She had a match, if I'm not mistaken, against Devil Makabe. And Alexis Littlefoot, someone, I think she's from Kentucky, and she's active in like Paradigm and Emerge. And I think that you have seen her before, Val. What are your thoughts on this match?
Yes, I've seen Alexis many times because she is from the same area in which I live now. So I am excited for this match. I think it's going to be fun. I will say, with between Action Futures and SCI tournament only having one female competitor, it's good that we're getting a few more in at least this match. That being said, I love both of these ladies so much. Just both as wrestlers and as people, they're both so nice to me. And it's really hard because of that. I like them both so much. But I'm gonna say I think Kai is gonna get the win on this. No particular reason why. I just think Kai is probably gonna take it.
I also think that Kaya's going to get the win, especially because she's already known in the Southeast. And as I said, had the match with Devlin before. I've seen Kaya multiple times. I think the first time I've seen Alex Littlefoot, and I think at least like that I can remember the only time, was at, I think they're called Hooligan Championship Wrestling from Indiana, Evansville.
Yeah.
Yes. I saw her in the match against Mercy. And yeah, I'm really looking forward to see her live as well. And yes, one last question for Action Future Showcase. We also have a gauntlet match. And if I understood this correctly, the winner of the gauntlet match will be the first entrant for next year's tournament. Are there any people where you think they could be in the gauntlet? Any picks? Well, do you have anyone in mind?
I do. I think that we're going to see Jay Lucas in that. I'm real big on Jay Lucas. I've been watching him in Nap. He was in action at the Futures show last year. I think he was just in a match. But Jay Lucas, you'd think he's a WWA 4 kid. If I remember right, I think that he's going to be in that gauntlet and going to show out. I like Jay Lucas. I'm big on that one. So that's kind of the only one I can really think of, to be honest. I'm unsure of how many people, like what their years are in wrestling as far as like how long they've been wrestling. So I'm not sure sometimes if they would technically qualify for Futures competition, but I'm fairly certain Jay Lucas hasn't been in that long, and I'm going to pick Jay Lucas.
Morbo, do you have any ideas?
No, not really. But I think it's going to be a great opportunity for upcoming stars, because I also want to add the good thing why I'm looking forward to the Action Future Showcase is it's early in America, so it's also very viewer friendly for us in Germany. So that's why. So a lot of people from all around the world will watch the show. That's why I really like it.
Absolutely. One name I could definitely think of, and I already kind of expected him in Action Future Showcase, is Finesse.
Yeah.
Maybe also Eden Monroe. And from like the north southeast talent, someone I feel you talked about, Val, that we don't have that much of a female representation, because I would love to see some female representation here. Of course, I don't know if they have any bookings on this weekend. There's just total speculation. But someone I could see here is Hailey Dillon. And another name that came to my mind, because I feel like she's someone who's starting to break out also with what she did on the Mania weekend, is Erica Demia from North Carolina. So I think there could be multiple people who we could see there. Yes, so much about Action Future Showcase. And of course, we will also have TWE The Night Before. And if I'm not mistaken, we have 2 matches announced so far. The first one was Paul London versus Jay Newman. Marble, what are your thoughts on Paul London versus Jay Newman?
It's going to be a wild one. I really hope there will be no interference. I just want to see Paul London against Jaden Newman because I'm pretty sure that's a pretty big match for Jaden. So no interference. Just give me a fun, entertaining wrestling match, please.
I think it's going to be a lot of fun. I think they're both just going to be able to like have fun with it before getting into their tournament matches. The night before, usually, at least in the last couple of years anyway, has always had one match like went really like they just ended up being really good in my opinion. And I think that match is going to be the match. I think it's going to be a lot of fun. I think it's going to be a treat for everybody involved. Yeah, I'm just really excited about it.
Absolutely. And Jaden is another one in wrestling who I really love and who supported me so much and who still supports me so much and who always tries to make everything happen for me when I'm there. So if you hear this, Jaden, nothing but love to you and happy belated birthday, by the way. And I think this will be an amazing match, especially for him who grew up watching people like Paul London. And yes, I think it will be really entertaining. And another match I think could be really good, and I'm really looking forward to, is Daniel Makabe versus Darian Bankston, because Daniel is also kind of a mentor for Darian, and this could be a great match. I also had a match before, which was good as well. Val, what are your thoughts on this match?
Yeah, I think that's going to be a great match. I think that's a good match. Style wise, I think they're kind of not quite on the same level, but kind of in the same book at least. And I think, really, any chance I get to watch Daniel Makabe wrestle, I'm going to enjoy, especially knowing that this is kind of it for him. So,
Warble, how do you feel about this match?
Is it for the title?
I think it's non-title, right?
Yeah, I would think it would be non-title.
Yes.
But is there a time limit?
That's a good question.
Yeah, I thought about maybe a 30-minute time limit draw. I would probably say Darian will win, but I also can see, because if it's for the title, maybe it's going to be a time limit draw, maybe 30 minutes or 60 minutes, just because I want to see. But yeah, I'm really looking forward to this match. It's going to be great. I mean, Daniel had such a great match against Cody Manhorn at the end of last year, and this is also going to be a great match.
Yes, I think so as well. Yeah, we've now talked about everything. Maybe the last thing I want to ask before you will talk again, Morbo. Do you have any more things you would like to say? Are there any things you could see happen in terms of like non-tournament matches on day 2, or maybe surprises? Like I said before, I could see like Carbon of the Gold versus Good Hand. This is the one match that I can see. But are there maybe other matches where you say, okay, I could imagine this? Moho.
No, I don't have any thing I would like to say. I just want to see Sebastian and Val in the first row having a good time. I'm really looking forward to see this.
I have third row tickets, you know that, right? At least for Scenic City Invitational. But you will still see me with my Daniel Makabe scarf. And Mobo, you know me good enough that you will definitely hear me. Val, what are your thoughts? Are you having any matches in mind where you say, okay, this could happen? Or
well, I know that I just saw a tweet, like I just saw it before we hopped on, where there was, I think, a couple of more matches announced for night before. It looks like Totally Shook versus Suge and Casey. So that should be interesting. And then Sigrid and Will Steele versus Chris Crunk and Kevin Ryan. So looking forward to that. I assume that there will be shenanigans based on a couple of those competitors.
Especially with Ikuto Death Society establishing themselves now in TWE. And as you said, I also forgot, we will have if I understood this correctly, we will also have the gauntlet match again on day 2, right? The gauntlet match in terms, or in case that someone, for example, last year we had the situation with Darien, that he got into the tournament through the gauntlet match because Jaden and Shook eliminated each other. So with the gauntlet match, or with not the gauntlet match, sorry, the scramble match. The scramble match. Do we have anyone in mind who could appear there on day 2? Maybe Val again.
Oh, yeah, I didn't even think about they usually do that scramble. Like,
Yes.
it's kind of like to see if there's, if there's an alternate needed or something like that.
Exactly.
Or to get into the tournament next year. I didn't even consider it. Just thinking about people that I've seen in the past at SCI who aren't booked on SCI this year that I can see yet, that are people that are doing stuff in the Southeast. You got to go with Bobby Flacco. No Bobby Flacco on here? Seems suspicious.
Morbo, you having any minds or having any names in mind?
I think Bobby Flacco is a good prediction, but I'm going with Big Dave. We need Big Dave at this weekend. Seriously, come on.
This would be amazing. I agree with you, and I can also see some of the people that we've seen in the past, like Eric Royal or BK Westbrook. Maybe also Anakin Murphy if he wins, like the Activision Showcase, like they did last year with Rachel. Maybe Colby Carino, maybe Hunter Drake, and someone I can definitely see there because he's pretty much everywhere at every show that I watch, or at least I feel like this, is Braden Toon.
Yeah.
This is someone I could definitely see there. Yeah, that's pretty much it. Morbo, do you have anything more to say? And I will give the word to you again.
Yeah, Vav, to wrap it up, maybe tell us at which indie shows we will, the listeners in America can see you in upcoming weeks, besides SCI, of course.
Oh, me? What do I have coming up? Let's check my calendar. I'm going to a show basically immediately after I get done on this. I believe there's a KOVK show tomorrow in Indianapolis that I'll be at. Obviously TWE. And then GCW is going to be in Louisville on July 18th. I'll be at that. 19th and the 20th, I believe I'm going to Unsanctioned Pro in Ohio. So that'll be a thing that I do. Beyond that, truly, you never know. There's, I think, a Paradigm show coming up I'm going to be at. When's that? August 9th, 10th, 18th. I don't know. Sorry. I'm literally going through my calendar as we speak. There's the Smitty. That's going to be August 23rd. August 18th, there's Wrestle Help. That's going to be right out of Louisville here, where there's a bunch of local independent wrestling companies kind of getting together to each like sponsor a match with their talent to support. I think it's a charity of some kind. I think it's domestic violence related. I'd have to double check it, but that's kind of cool to see a bunch of the different companies in the area kind of take a couple of their talents and like sponsor a match for a show, basically.
Okay, that's it. We're at the end of the show. Thank you very much, Val, for coming in the show. And as our tradition, the stage is yours. You can plug and promote anything you want. So
I used to have my own podcast. I don't really anymore, but you can always check out old episodes of The Stack with Val Pancakes on the Bald Monkeys channel on YouTube. You can also find some of those interviews that the Bald Monkeys guys have done or that I have done on the Action Wrestling YouTube channel. Go check them out. I also work with a podcast that promotes women and non-binary talent called Grit and Glitter. So check them out wherever you listen to podcasts. And I am Val Pancakes pretty much everywhere. Twitter, Instagram. Come find me, give me a follow. You'll see a lot of pictures of wrestling and my cat, and just listen to me say stupid stuff. So those are where I'm at the moment.
Okay. Last words to Dave by Sebastian.
Thank you as always to you, Morbo. Thank you as always to you, Florian. And especially thank you to you, Val, for taking the time and to do this very special episode. You were pretty much the first person that came to my mind, because I know how much of a fan you are of independent wrestling, how much you know about independent wrestling. And therefore, it was great to have you. And thank you, of course, also to our listeners, to everyone who's listened to us and who will listen to us in the future. Goodbye.